good? It's your boy, Mr. Smiles of the Long Island Litefeet Nation, where you get your etc. News, information, interviews about I don't even need to tell you, man. You already know what it is. Right now, we're with someone iconic, legendary, you could say.
Oh God.
The man behind Mindlezzthoughtz. The man
one of them.
Of Team Rocket.
You're right.
What's good, J Rockets? How you doing?
We're doing good, man. I'm glad to be here. I just finished Illuminate, Calm, had some great performances, so I was pretty excited about that. And you know, King of the Hill's coming up, so you know that's always something to look forward to. So
yeah.
I'm done pretty well. Can't complain.
Alright, so for those of you who don't know, J Rockets is like one of the main cameramen behind most of the Litefeet visuals out today. You know, all the battles, the events, the ciphers, the solos. Shout outs to Getty.
Yeah,
another
shout
one
out to Getty.
Yeah, he covers Litefeet events, solos, all that too. The first question I got, I had to write it down in my notes because I couldn't remember.
I respect it.
How did you get the name J Rockets? Like, did somebody give that to you, or?
The J Rockets name came about, I think I was about 16 or 17 years old. I was always a fan of two things, the burger spot Johnny Rockets. I was always interested in space, so my first name is Jordan.
Yeah.
So I was just like, all right, so it has to have something with J in it. So then J Rockets just kind of naturally came about. It's kind of funny because when I first got the name, I didn't really think about like what team I wanted to be in, and then it was just like, I've been Rocket now for 5 years. It kind of just came and it fit and it worked. So now my name is Jay the Creative. So
Jay the Creative, J Rockets, man of many names, many talents. Now, as far as the Litefeet music goes, what do you think about Litefeet music now, the future of Litefeet music, and Litefeet music back then in the past?
Ooh. I would say the Litefeet music of back then, if we're talking about I guess like beginning of KOTH era, it was very kind of natural. It's kind of reminiscent of like you being in a room and like somebody just says a word and then somebody just randomly makes a song out of that word. That was what the original Litefeet music kind of felt like. As it evolved, I should say, I think it grew more into sound and quality in addition to technique and creativity.
Yeah.
And that's where you have people like Kid the Wiz and people like Lil Live and Chris Designs and Top Flight and H Rocks and SG Flow, who kind of elevated the quality of sound of Litefeet music. I feel like Litefeet music today is pretty dope, but I feel like there is more of an emphasis on trying to complement the dancing, but I feel like the dancing should complement the music, if that makes sense. That's kind of like my biggest, not my biggest pet peeve, but like my biggest thing with dancing and music. It's like, I feel like the music should complement the dance and not the other way around. You want that kind of healthy relationship. But as far as the producers, I have a lot of respect for every producer, young, new, old, in between. Because I feel like in some respects, a lot of producers are just considered beat makers and they're not considered artists. Me, when, 2-3 years ago, like me, Dylan, and Chris we had a group chat. And they know the name of that group chat, and I'm not going to say the name of that group chat. But secrets, top secret. But in addition to like the numerous inside jokes we had, I was able to kind of notice how seriously they had to take their craft in order to be at the level that they're at. And it takes a lot of dedication, a lot of skill, a lot of time, a lot of patience. So I feel like as far as Litefeet music, if there was something that I would kind of improve on or would want to draw more attention to, is that the fact that these guys are artists. And the producers, you guys are artists, which means that you should treat your music as art and not as just something to just throw out. Be strategic, be a brand, be strategic and be a brand.
What do you think about the Litefeet culture right now?
I feel like it's funny because when it comes to overall Litefeet culture, you kind of have to, you can't talk about where it is now or where it's going without talking about where it's been.
Yes.
We kind of went from this kind of dictatorship style of Litefeet where it was just one guy running everything to now the playing level being equal. And the reason why I say that is because when you had D. Cole,
Yes.
it was D. Cole and that was it. I mean, it wasn't just D. Cole. Like, he wasn't the only person that had sessions, but he was like the main guy. And then from that era birthed Swiss, Space, Cry started getting into events as well. And it was like, okay, these are the legends and these are the icons of the culture. And this is why we have the right to do these events. Yeah. And here I came along with a camera and my team, and I think we kind of changed the way that people looked at Litefeet culture, because it's kind of like, now if some random guy from Brooklyn who hasn't had any dancing experience can just start throwing events, then it's just like, whoa, okay. This kind of changes everything. And then that's when the playing field, and now you see a lot of more dancers starting to throw their own events. And a lot of guys, I don't like to say taking on the leader role, because I don't like that idea of superiority. I like to consider it a facilitating, so I see a lot of dancers, older dancers, even some younger dancers that are facilitating. And now I feel like the culture is starting to slowly but surely starting to get back to where it should be. Because of the fact that there's variety. I feel like because Litefeet was competitive for so long between like event owners and teams, that everybody is just like, oh, well, I want to be the man. And it's just like, that doesn't create a healthy culture. Like, if it was even if it was just Mindlezzthoughtz, which it has almost been for like the past 5 years, that doesn't create a healthy culture. It's a good brand, but like at the same time, what makes a good culture is variety. Yes. I like seeing people like Damo and Mose throw events. I like seeing people like Solo step out and do his thing. I like seeing people of all teams, of all cultures. I may not agree with their lifestyle, I may not be, but I'm glad that there's variety being added back to the culture, variety in producers, variety in event hosts and event venues. We need more variety. And on top of that, like, the fact that we have an international chapter, so shout outs to Jumi, shout outs to the people in Argentina, y'all are really holding it down. And I feel like with those international branches, we're seeing what Litefeet potentially can be. So shout outs to Dark, by the way, peeking through the window. I feel like through those branches, it's kind of showing what Litefeet can be, because Jumi he has choreography, he has classes, workshops, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, I'm just glad of the state of the culture. I just want to kind of move into a role of being more of an advisor. It's just more of like, all right, how are we gonna improve everybody's brands so that not only can we enjoy this culture, but we can own the culture. Because I feel like even with old hip hop, with breakdancing, one of the reasons how it got exploited was just a lot of the people who were icons and legends of that culture were not able to own it. And they didn't understand their self-worth and business. And I want to encourage and empower young creators to understand their worth. The worth of their team, their individual talent, as well as this culture.
Shout outs to all the chapters of Litefeet. Shout outs to all the countries, Japan, Argentina, France. Whatever country you're from, I can't name all of them off the top of my head. If you don't know who D. Cole is, D. Cole was the guy. D. Cole 74 on YouTube. He was the guy that hosted most of the Litefeet events back when Litefeet was first, getting popping back in 09. And I don't know if he did 08.
He did a little bit of 08. I think he was shooting in 07 and 08, and then he was shooting in 07, started throwing events in 08. He had events in 08. He definitely had events in 08, and then he went to 09.
Yeah, people kind of see you that way, even though you don't want it to be like a superiority role. And when people see someone step up to the plate and push Litefeet, they kind of do see you as like a leader figure, even though you don't want to be. That's a funny thing with leaders and leadership, is that most of these leaders these days, in Litefeet and hip hop, just dance culture, they didn't want to be leaders. You know what I'm saying? Right. It's just people that have the desire to push and grow and bring the culture out to the world globally.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? How do you handle that? Like, how do you handle, because I know people hit you up all the time, because I hit you up.
Oh, yeah.
Talking about, whenever I want to know about an event, I hit you up. Right. Whenever I want to know about something, I hit you up. I see, even though you don't feel this way, I see you as like a leader of the culture. Right. You know what I'm saying? Just like how people would see like Swiss or a Crybaby or you know?
Well, first off, thank you. Like, I'm humbled and I feel privileged to kind of have that title. As far as how to handle it, one of the things that I know, like, this is just a life thing for me. One of the things that I grew up or went into my 20s having the desire to be is to be the role model that I never had when I was growing up. There's a lot of people just in life, in different institutions, that are going to use their power for bad, and then there's some that are going to use their power for good. And I want to be in this environment, and I want to help, and I want to contribute. However, I also, in my personal life, want to make sure that I'm not disrespecting women, that I'm not smoking or drinking or putting any of that stuff online. That I'm, you know, when I was in college, I graduated college last year, and yeah, you know, glory to God. But I wanted to be able to go to college and get that degree, not just for me and for my potential career, but to show people here, listen, you can do it too. And I feel like one of the things that's very, very important when you're in that leadership position is to just understand the influence that you have and to understand the impact that you have and then harness that for good. Like, there's too many bad influences in the world as there is. And you want to change. If you can't change the world, you can at least try to change your world, your immediate circle of people around you, your immediate culture. And that is rooted in your action, and that is rooted in your character. So as far as how I handle being a leader, it's a tough task, but at the same time, it's something that, you know, I kind of take on because it's just like, you know what? I can use this for good, you know what I mean? And that's just kind of how I handle it. Oh, he said he got wrapped.
I couldn't hear anything over there.
What do you think about the future of Litefeet? Now, there are some people that do Litefeet in other countries and even the United States, and they're sort of culture vultures, you know? They just take and they don't give back. They don't go and learn the history. They don't do the movements correctly, and they teach, and what do you think about that?
Well, if you participate in Litefeet, I'm gonna make this as quick as possible. If you participate in Litefeet, it is, in regardless of what country, language, ethnicity, it is important to know your history. I encourage you to do your research. I encourage you to look up old Litefeet videos, contact Litefeet facilitators, leaders, historians about the movement, learn about the movement before you make movements, because there's power and there's meaning behind your movement. As it pertains to, you know, being the culture vultures and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, I feel like that's not just a Litefeet problem, that's a life problem. I mean, that's just kind of like, even you see it now with cultural appropriation and how the Kardashians are taking black culture. And the sad thing about it is that nobody is morally obligated to keep your culture intact than you. So that's the reason why I want to move to a place of keeping people accountable and helping people understand their self-worth. Because at the end of the day, that falls solely on you. And I feel like, do I like the misrepresentation of Litefeet? Absolutely not.
Definitely, nobody does.
Nobody does. But at the same time, that should be more of a motivation to the people within our community to step up, to own their brands, to be professionally presentable as possible, and to really take control of the culture that they created. Because if you don't control it, then somebody else will be more than happy to do so.
One last question. What do you think about Long Island Litefeet?
I love what Long Island Litefeet Nation is doing. I like the intimacy of it. Like, it seems like such a tight-knit circle, and it seems like everybody's connected, and it seems like everybody's together and united for one sole purpose, and that is to just elevate the culture and to kind of accentuate what we've kind of done out here in the city. So I love Long Island Litefeet. If there's one thing that I wish I could do, that I wish I had time to do, is to do a Litefeet event in Long Island. But that's honestly, like, if we could pack that place out, I'll be super happy. But like, I love what Long Island Nation is doing, from the tight-knit community of dancers to the culture, to the unity, to the peace, to the branding. Like, you're doing an amazing job, like, with these interviews and keeping people engaged. And I encourage you to keep going. But shout outs to Long Island Litefeet Nation, man.
Yeah,
y'all really doing the damn thing. So.
You already know. It's your boy, Mr. Smiles from Long Island Litefeet Nation. Litefeet Nation up. Mindlezzthoughtz up.
While I'm at that, Jay the Creative, Mindlezzthoughtz. Follow me at Instagram.
Follow him.
Instagram, Jay the Creative. Follow Mindlezzthoughtz on Instagram, Mindlezzthoughtz. King of the Hill is on July 29th. We have Create, Elevate, Repeat t-shirts on sale now, $15. For more information, follow us on Mindlezzthoughtz. Our website, www.mindlezzthoughtz.com. We here.
You
Shout out to my
already
bro
know.
Elijah for this logo. Shout outs to Mom and Dad. Shout outs to Murder Inc. Terror Squad, OVO, Dark Light, Rich, Swiss Cry, Team Rocket. I don't even know why I just shouted out OVO Murder Inc.
Everybody in the world.
Shout outs to Rough Riders, Bad Boy. That Diddy documentary was popping. But yeah, I'm out. We're kicking us out this building, so we out.
Yeah, we gotta get out.
Peace, love, stay
Links will be in
mindless.
the description.
Hell yeah.
You already know.
Yeah, thank you.
Feet up.
Thank you so much for this, man. I appreciate this for real.
That's for the culture.